This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Roll. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping the news tonight, the Department of Environmental Health urging residents to take the Zika virus threat seriously. While no cases have been reported on Grand Bahama, officials say residents must take the necessary precautions to prevent the spread of the virus. Megan Shepard has our top story.
The Minister of Health, the Honorable Dr. Perry Gomez, confirming 4 more cases of Zika, bringing the total to 8 for the island of New Providence. But what does that mean for Grand Bahama?
Zika is a disease that is transmitted by the Aedes aegypti. We know that we have the Aedes aegypti in the Bahamas, and Grand Bahama is no exception.
Chief Health Inspector at the Department of Environmental Health, Bertha McPhee-Duncanson, is stressing that the department does not and cannot confirm the presence of the disease, but rather they play a role in monitoring any suspected mosquito-borne diseases. The department also issues advice on stopping the breeding of mosquitoes.
What we would do, we would go into areas that we know that we would have seen high incident of mosquito breeding, and we would give pamphlets out asking people to, clear their premises in their surrounding from all water-containing materials, buckets, tires, old refrigeration units, anything that can hold water. A mosquito could lay its larvae in less than an ounce of water.
The department conducts ground fogging every year, and the process has been carried out twice so far for the season. She says they are now in the 3rd round of fogging and concentrating on high breeding areas.
We've commenced with the Western District, but because of the rain, we are unable to do the coverage that we want to do because of rain. Because we must understand that the fogging basically is for adult mosquito, so it is death upon contact. Or if and when, because of the mist, it lands on buildings or lands in trees, and the mosquito lands it, the chances are that they will be killed.
Now, McPhee-Duncanson is noting that the department cannot eliminate all threats on its own, and residents must do their part in protecting themselves.
If you're going to go out early evening, prepare yourself. Light clothes, long sleeve, light color clothes, long sleeve shirt, long sleeve pants. If you're pregnant, if you're going to go out in the evening, mosquito activities is during that time, protect yourself. You can put on a mosquito repellent and or cover up. We have the mosquitoes here. And we have some cases in Nassau, so we have the mosquitoes here.
She adds that the Aedes aegypti is a domestic mosquito, which means it can breed in and around your home if bodies of water are left lying around. Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
Now, for further information on the Zika virus, you can contact the National Disease Surveillance Unit. The numbers are listed on your screen. While the island's landfill is lamenting the growing number of tires accumulating at the facility, with the Zika virus a huge concern nationally, the landfill officials say they have a plan in place to manage the mosquito population. Cleopatra Murphy has more.
The extensive use of used tires on the island is a challenge for officials at Sanitation Services Pine Ridge Landfill, who say Grand Bahama motorists are discarding tires at an excessive rate, and those soon end up at the landfill. General Manager Lou Carroll estimates between 300,000 to 400,000 tires are currently at the landfill.
We have to treat these tires on a monthly basis, so that's an expense within itself. We have one of the local pest control companies that come here and spray them, because especially in these heavy rains, they accumulate water before we shred them, and that's why right now we're shredding all the tires so that we don't have to do that any longer, and it don't present a mosquito or bug risk.
With that risk comes concern of the spread of Zika, now that 8 cases of the virus have already been confirmed on New Providence. Carl says while used tires are cheap, they have a short lifespan.
The problem is that when you buy a used tire, you get 3 or 4 or 5 months use out of it. It ends up here. So I would estimate that in Freeport we maybe, and I don't know about Nassau or how many used tires they sell there, but based on the amount of tires I get in, I figure we are generating tires at a rate maybe 5 to 10 times more than we should.
Once discarded tires are stripped, Carroll says the landfill does its best to recycle them. He says the facility is in the process of constructing wetlands on the northern side and tires will be used for the project.
Wetlands is a process that we use for treating the contaminated water. We used to just recirculate it before and get rid of it through evaporation and absorption. That is that's not going to happen, for the life of the landfill. So that's why we're going to start this year, actually.
Carroll says it will also be good for the landfill's bird population. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
Police officials are continuing efforts to promote safer communities. This morning they began the process for the demolition of a long abandoned home on Gilbert Crescent. Assistant Superintendent of Police Henry Roll says the home has been a haven for the criminal element and has been the cause of many complaints by residents.
We have vagrants. At some point, persons who were involved in stealing, they would hide their contrabands or their whatever items here. And the community, they complain and they observe a lot of stuff going on here. And as law enforcement officers, we are very concerned about these type of issues. Of course, like I said, it affects the quality of life. And I'm happy that today we decide to, have it removed.
The Licensing and Property Use Inspector at the Grand Bahama Port Authority says the home is not structurally sound and poses an environmental concern. He says it is one of several in the Freeport area targeted for demolition.
There are 2 occupied homes to the left and right of them, and it must have been quite a nuisance for these persons to have to deal with an unsightly building where there were vagrants habitating. So we feel that we have done an excellent job in improving the appearance of this corner by ridding the corner of this dilapidated building.
Meantime, the Grand Bahama Christian Council is continuing its focus on finding solutions to crime and social issues in the country. Second Vice President and Chairman of the committee that was formed to address these issues, Apostle Anthony Grant, says in addition to the Council's programs established to combat crime, they are proposing that a Christian student movement be established as a standard and active program in all schools, among other preventative measures.
Adoption of schools by churches. Number 3, the council to implement parent training. Number 4, planned workshops for training youth ministers. And number 5, to encourage churches to sponsor summer camps.
The council is also making these recommendations.
Regularize persons without resident or citizenship status, but who may meet the requirements for consideration. Number 3, intensify the enforcement of laws for minor offenses such as traffic and littering. Eliminate any perception of discrimination from the court system. Number 5, develop a program, an exit plan for persons being released from prison to acclimate them back into society.
Now, the local council would also like to see extreme penalties implemented for possession of illegal firearms. Stay with us, there's more news right after this.